Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I don't know if I should be concerned here, but Kathy says that she's going to be asking me some personal questions later. We'll get to that. I'm an open book. I'll tell you whatever you need to know. We're talking with Kathy Slagter, who is somebody that helps people with addiction and recovery and has been doing it for many years. And as she told us a while back that she went through many, many, many years of addiction and things cleaned up. And now she's on the path to helping people. And part of that is through one Neigh at a time.com. When I say Neigh, I'm spelling that, and I have to look down because I want to make sure I get it right. Neigh, as in a horse neighing. And you use horses to heal as part of your therapy. It's one of the things that you do, and it makes you very unique. I got to find out, and we do have an instant feedback question we're going to get to in 1 second. I got to find out when you wanted to help people in recovery, which came first? Was it that, then the horse component, or the horse, you were connected to horses and realized, wow, how therapeutic they can be, and that led to the other?
It was totally not the horses first. No, I loved the feeling of not having to need alcohol. And I was starting to learn what it felt like to be present in my own body, which, as I said, for someone like you that maybe hasn't struggled with that, you don't quite understand what that means. But I had, and I said this before, but I'll say it again, I had to have alcohol in order to live. My body was totally out of control. I was literally shaking, bringing a, if this was something to drink, I was bringing it up to my mouth just to have a drink of water, or for me, it had to be vodka, because the vodka would then settle the shivers away. And then I could, go on with my life. So when I started to be able to not have all that going through my body, I was able to relax and notice little things like the change of the seasons. Maybe that seems, again, maybe a little odd to some people, but I could absorb it. I could absorb what it felt like to breathe in, maybe the smell of leaves or the smell of new grass. I would breathe it before, but I wouldn't be able to be in the moment. And, that's the big thing. And horses live in that moment. And, I had a horse before, and he started bucking me off when I was going to say hi to him and not really wanting to be around me. And, now I know, of course, that horse knew that I was drunk. So, at the time, I just thought she was just being an idiot. So I got mad at her, and, inside I was probably even a little grateful, because I didn't really want to ride her drunk, but I knew that I had to ride her because that's why I bought her, one of those things that you do, but I didn't know the power of a horse until later, until I started really being with them and noticing what happens to me and other people when they're around them. And that's how it, then it was like, I want other people to see this. So I really wanted people to understand what addiction does to yourself and your body and what it looks like on the other side. Even though I was still very fresh and new at it, I looked at life in a different perspective. And then you add the horses to it, and it changed, just so much about me. So, yeah.
Based on what you just said, we have instant feedback. This is from Vicky in Chicago. And
Hi, Vicky.
I read it off my phone here. She says that I've dealt with different types of addiction in the past. I still find myself drinking 2 times a week, mostly to deal with stress. I don't know where to go from here. What can you suggest to her?
Yeah. So, Vicky, one of the hardest things I think in our life is to change a way of reacting to circumstances. And it's hard to talk to people when they are drinking. So I'd rather, if I were to talk with her, it would be when she's sober, of course. But we have to figure out together what your triggers are. What makes you pick up that drink? And your why to stay sober has to be stronger than your why to get drunk. So getting drunk is a way of saying, and excuse my language, but I use it, fuck it. This is a moment of fuck it. I'm not going to care, or I can't care, or I don't think I can care. I can't have those emotions. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to be a part of whatever it is that she's choosing, you're choosing to drink. So working with me or working with the horse helps you to relax and get into your body and figure out what it is that's making you drink. Once you take that drink, your willpower is gone. They always say, you gotta try harder. You have to have more willpower. Well, that's true if you're sober. Then you have the willpower. But once you put that poison, I put that poison into my system, then I have no control over how much I'm going to drink. But if she drinks twice a week, she's given herself only 3 days to really clear it out of your system. And what happens is I'm guessing you start to feel better. You start to feel more alive. You start to feel like, maybe this isn't so bad. So then you drink again. And then you're back down to feeling like crap. So the cycle of 3 days has to be 4, and it has to be 5, and it has to be more. And once you start getting a few more days in, then, the chance to really look at what's going on inside of us and why, what makes me drink. And that's important, saying out loud and talking to somebody about it, is huge. That's, one of the things. I went to rehab for 30 days. It's because I needed 30 days to stay sober. And I couldn't seem to do it on my own. And, I didn't have anybody else to talk to. I didn't have anything. I didn't know about sober coaching. I didn't know about sober recovery. I didn't know about life coaching. I didn't know about any of those things. But, if I would have called and talked with somebody about all the things that were going on inside of me, and sometimes we don't even know. And that's my job, is to help you figure out what and why.
Yeah. And even when we say, you drink 2 times a week, call it excessively, that could be even 3 in 1 week. Sometimes you lose track of it. And to your point, making those days in between longer. Do you find that when you have that period in between, if you go 1 extra day, that it's in your mindset that you've hit a plateau? Like I've progressed. I've gotten 3 days in there. I've gotten 4th. Then I drank again. Are you cognizant of it at that time, or it just is what it is?
I think that you get more and more cognizant of it. More and more you see yourself on the other side. Is it good to go 3 days and drink again? No, obviously. If you have a problem with alcohol, the best thing to do is to drop it out of your life. Even if you could go 30 days, that's a big thing. Go 30 days and work with somebody through that 30 days, then you have a chance to really make big decisions. You can say, what does we can doc, what changed in your life? What did you feel changed? Why, what was the circumstances when you thought about it? What did your body go through as you were getting yourself through that day or through that moment? When you got pissed off or mad or angry, what happened to your body and how did you handle it? Maybe, I have this little bitty squeeze thing. Maybe you need to squeeze some toy, maybe you need to go for a walk. Maybe, if you're spiritual, maybe you pray, maybe you, you put up music and you start dancing. You got to get yourself out of that spurt of, I can't go another minute without drinking because it's the only thing I know that's going to help me through this. We got to figure out what the other things are. And they could be a long list. It doesn't have to be, oh, she just says don't. That's not what I do. I don't say just don't drink. It's a lot more than that. And there's, that's the big thing, is figuring out what makes me need a drink. And that's what she feels. I'm sure Vicki feels that way, is I need it. There's no other way around it. I need it. Well, that's the lie that you're telling yourself. That's your story. Let's change your story. Let's change who let's change your perspective.
Kathy, what's your anniversary date?
February 11th. It's coming up.
10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so big for me.
And congratulations. It's fantastic. And look at what you've done. And you've turned things around and helping people. What was your trigger? I'm curious to know what triggered your drinking during that period.
Oh boy. I said before, it was one of the things was my temperament. I hated being uncomfortable in new situations. I hated being afraid to talk to people or to call people, or going out to dinner with 5 people, and a couple of them I knew and a couple of them I didn't. I would have a lot of anxiety. I would start to turn red even, I would walk back and forth. I would feel my stomach, my stomach would get all upset. And, it's a simple little thing, having a dinner with a couple people, no big deal. But I had to go through all those things, body anxieties, just to have dinner with a couple people that I didn't know, because I wanted them to see me as a strong, competent person. I know that now, but I just wanted to be comfortable. I didn't want to struggle to find a conversation with them. And,
Which by the way, probably wouldn't have happened. And that's what you were thinking. It's almost, you go to dinner with 2 people, 3, whatever, you've never seen before. They're friends of other friends, whatever. There's never a lull in the conversation. Everybody's always carrying around. But if you have that in your head that I don't want to be at that moment.
Yeah. I have to be the one that brings up the conversation. I have to participate. Everyone's looking at me because that's who I'm looking at is me,
Right.
so.
But we know they're not, everybody's all together doing
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But by you drinking, you became a more elevated, more in your mind, fun person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I started to like that person, at least I thought I did, until of course the next morning when I wake up and I lost half my night because I blacked out. And, at midnight was the last drink that I remember ordering. And I didn't get home until 3 o'clock in the morning. What did I do between 2 and 3? I'm sure I wasn't the life of the party the way I want to be the life of the party. I ended up being the idiot of the party instead,
And usually you're the life of the party. It depends on your body, but maybe you have 3 drinks. It's like, I'm having fun. Yeah, this is good. But you need
right. I wish I could have, I could never say 3 drinks was where I got comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's enough. I'm just going to stay at this 3 drink level. I never was at that. I couldn't stay at that level. I always had to go to 4, 5, 6, 7. God, for me, it was 10 or 20 sometimes. It's quite expensive to spend a night at the bar when you're somebody like me that has to have, if this is my drink, I'm worried about the next one coming, and it's not even close to being gone, so I had to make sure that I always had a drink in front of me, and that's expensive, so
seriously,
somebody like me, a sober coach might be expensive too, but look what you get. You don't get a hangover, you get healing.
You get your life back.
Yeah. That was one thing, but the other thing was the emotional part of it. I had a lot of things going on in my life that I didn't like. I had a lot of great things. I'm not going to say my life was crappy, but there was a lot of things that I never really looked at. I never looked at, the death of my dad. It's his birthday today. He would have been 85.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. Because today's the anniversary of my mom's passing 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
How interesting.
So you know what it feels like to lose somebody you love.
Yeah. And your dad's birthday. Wow.
Yeah.
Things happen for a reason.
26 years now. So it's been a lot, but I still had a very emotional day this morning.
Sure.
I did some crying. I did some thinking about the loss and everything that he's lost. And, I'm trying to figure out, but how we deal with big circumstances in our life. And like I said, a lot of people have some really, really, really big things that went on in their life, and they've been taught, whether it's from somebody else or for themselves, to let it go. I'll use that word, let it go, stop letting that part of your life run the rest of your life. And that's kind of what I was doing, is I didn't want to face a lot of the circumstances in my life, because if I faced them, then I got scared. And what happens when you get scared and worried and fearful?
Yep.
You want to numb, you wanted to drink it away. And then, sometimes even when I drink, I could tell people how I really felt. And if I'm sober, I think more about how I might hurt them. When I'm drunk, I didn't care,
Right.
I'll tell you you're an idiot if I think you are, but if I'm sober, I'll let it go by. So, drunk helped me express myself sometimes where, I didn't feel like I could. Sober, I express myself in a different way. I respond to things. Do I sometimes react? Yes, of course I do. I'm not perfect by any means. I have emotional reactions to a lot of things, but
Yeah.
it changed who I was. Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. You had said that you're going to ask me some questions. Is that still on?
Sure.
Okay. All right. We're talking to Kathy Slagter, one Neigh at a time, helping people with addiction and recovery. And we will be right back.
Have you ever wondered how a horse could help you in your recovery? Well, my name is Kathy Slagter, and I'm an equine master gestaltist. And what I do is help you find your passion and purpose in your recovery. My website is www.oneneigh@a-time.com. And you may also contact me through email at Kathy with a K, ATHY @oneneigh@a-time.com. Can't wait to hear from you, and I'll see you in the barn.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are with Kathy Slagter today, and she's a recovery coach helping people with addictions and get past them. And her website is oneneigh@a-time.com. So we've covered some things so far. You said you had some questions for me. I have no idea what this is about.
Yeah.
But I'm open to anything here.
Okay. We're kind of going down the line of temperaments. We get into that. And, as I said, one of the big things is I was an introvert.
Mhm.
So all right, guys.
And you said it before that the dogs would probably say something.
Yep. All right. Hey. Okay. So, for you, do you know if you are an introvert or an extrovert? Do you know that side of you? If you are going out to a big party, do you like being the life of the party? Or are you someone that sits in the corner and finds somebody to chat with and just relax?
I don't want to ride the fence just because I can't decide, but I feel truly that I'm in the middle. And there's a term for it in between introvert and extrovert. And I think I'm in the middle. Sometimes I like the attention and have fun. Otherwise, I like to branch off and, talk to a couple of people.
Okay. All right. So for that with you, if you get an invitation to a party, let's say,
Sure.
and one of the things, you get it in the mail and you're really excited about it and you can't wait till the party comes and you're ready to go. The day comes because you're in between. So the day comes and there's a possibility that now you've had a big day, you've worked hard, and you would like to stay home. So you have to then call and sorry.
And say that I'm tired or I'm not gonna make the party.
Yeah. So then you decide to stay home. So you have to make that decision between yourself. So if you were maybe in your addiction part of yourself, or the one that has to push yourself up to go to something else, then that's the side of you that will come out and go to somewhere and get there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you do when you have to make that choice of going or not going, knowing that if you don't go, you'll disappoint somebody or somebody's expecting you to go? What do you do to get yourself to go, or do you choose to stay home?
I'm on a different life journey. So in the past, I would probably stay home. now I would probably go. However, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I would
Right.
probably, no matter what the circumstance, probably want to go with somebody. So I check, hey man, are you free? Can you go? Do you want to come with me to a party? I probably ask somebody to come with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you are making a choice about something, okay, do you feel with your heart or do you think with your head? Do you like to make choices that feels good to you, or do you like to make choices that you have to go through a process of thinking about making the choice?
Good question. And I would say previously, because I'm changing myself as I go along life here.
Okay.
Previously, I would overthink it and think about it. And now I would go with my heart more
Right.
times than not. Yeah.
Okay.
It would be more centered here than centered up here.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's say that you were going to take a flight somewhere. Okay. And the flight is 2 hours away. You want to be there 2 hours before the flight takes off.
At the airport, right? Yep.
Yeah. Do you get there 2 hours before, or are you like barely there at an hour because you forgot to get some cash and you forgot to get this and you need to do one more thing and pack one more thing and all that? Or
I'll try and get there about 2 hours before. It might be 1:45, something like that, but I'll try and get as close to the two. Just because that's what they say, and I don't want to stand on line security and then run into a potential issue. Or if there is an issue, there's time to resolve it before the plane takes off. That's my brain going again. Now I'm overthinking it, but that's what I would do.
Okay. All right. And if you're buying a vehicle, a car, would you look it up and know exactly what kind of car you want? And then you would go to the car place and buy it, or would you just show up on a whim and say, gosh, I really like this vehicle. It drives nice. It looks nice. I like that color. And that's the one I'm going to drive off the parking lot with.
Tough question to answer because I've had the same type of car for the last 3 cars.
There you go.
So
Okay.
easy choice, but it's hard to buy cars now because of the chip situation around the country. So I don't know, that might change, the next car, which, due soon, but, but I will research it and think about it. Yeah. I wouldn't just show up and say, hey, I'll take that one.
I'll take that one. Okay. All right. So what kind of a job do you have? How do those personalities work with your job? Do you know? Do you get exhausted and tired when you leave your work? Do you get anxious and sometimes, does your body, maybe you get ornery or something like that when you have to step out and go home and be around more people?
I'm usually okay. I don't feel anything like that. It's, I'm happy with my day, looking forward to the next one.
Right.
Because I love what I do.
Right. Well, that's important. That's really important. So I guess what I'm getting to is we'll go through a little process like that. But when we figure out what your temperament is, then we'll dissect into, and this can be done Zoom or with your horse.
Sure.
So dissect into all the little categories because we are actually born with a certain temperament. And horses have a certain temperament too, which is kind of interesting, another line to go into. But that's kind of how, I can pick and choose which horse that I want to co-partner with is sometimes their personalities and what I might be working with you on. So if I already knew that you were in between an introvert and an extrovert, I'd make sure that I picked a horse that was somewhat similar to your views. And, that's the fun part is we get to figure out many times we're asked to do something, maybe it's through your work, to make a list. Let's say a list person. I need to make all these lists about everything I want done. And your employer wants to see the list done and checked and everything. And for me, I'm not a list person. I don't go through, that's not how I get my enjoyment. I actually go, ew, I can't believe I'm going to have to make this list. I'd rather do it off the top of my head.
It's funny you should say that.
Asking that of you, how that changes that changes you during the day. And then you have to become a different you at home, but I can understand those two sides of myself.
Yeah.
And I get on myself. So that, that's just kind of kind of a little blurb of what to do with your temperament and how to make your life better.
I
If you understand who
honestly,
you
I
are.
love it. We're just about out of time, but I do want to, you made me think, and I think you made a lot of people think about how they process things. And to your point, excuse me, about the list, on my phone last night, I started, I have an app for lists, and I added
Right.
a couple of things in there. It's, into the afternoon now. Haven't even looked yet because
Everything.
I like doing what you just said. I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to, I got a pretty good memory. It'll come back to me. But to be very honest, I don't even know it was on the list what I put on last night.
Right.
And
But it
now,
goes into your head. Yeah, it does
yes,
go.
but now I'm thinking about it. It's like, well, what did I put down there? It's probably something important. But we'll get to that at some point. Kathy, great talking to you. Love the work that you do and how you help people. Again, what's your website?
It is oneneighataTime.com. So www.oneneighataTime.com. Neigh, horses Winnie and Neigh. So come join me. I'm Facebook. I'm Kathy at Kathy at One Neigh at a Time. You can email me. Love to hear from you, and let's move you forward instead of backward in your life, and that's important.
Yep.
For all of us to do.
And we always end with those three words. What are they?
Let it go. Let it go.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thanks,
Don't
Kathy.
carry it around.
We'll talk to you next time.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.